Hi, hello, happy Sabbath, and Shabbat Shalom. As I'm getting over my bronchitis or pneumonia or whatever it is that I had, I'm feeling a little better. I can talk a little louder. Still can't sing worth a flop. Mom got some yellow raspberries. Hopefully I can get them planted in a way that won't kill them. Other than that, her African violets over here are doing very well. She's got one big African violet in the middle of the room that's grown, from what I can tell, pretty decently. It's the biggest one around here, and it seems to be putting on leaves at a good rate. Then she's got this one over here that's been flowering quite profusely, and it's been doing very well flowering. Most of them haven't flowered hardly at all.
That one came to us flower.
Yeah, well, some of the others did too, but they quit.
Yeah.
And then this thing's got some new growth on it. It put on one flower for a while, then it got rid of that flower, and now it's back to growth. Sorry, my hand is shaking. I'm shaking all over nowadays. Then, of course, these hyacinths here have been struggling to put on flowers. They're flowering a longer period of time than the ones outside. They've already matured and cast their flowers, but at least they got to full length and full size without any problem. And but they're out in the dirt and they got plenty of water. In the meantime, can't say that that's dry. It's moist, so maybe it just didn't feel like growing that much this year. Anyhow, so let's go out and see what's changed in the rest of the greenhouse. We're starting some seed starts that here we've got some various cucumbers and one, it's a mimosa, it's not a cucumber. Don't need that. Anyhow, so we got a few cucumbers that are coming up here. Hopefully they'll live long enough to get transplanted. That's all Mom's project. I'm letting her keep track of that on her own. One of these things are technically still alive. Some of them look to be doing better, these mother-in-law's tongues. The amaryllis are still alive, although I don't think two of them are going to flower this year. I don't think they got enough phosphorus, but I'm leaving that up to her. My spindly pears are doing much better. Much better. Some of these are doing better, some of them have already died. So I didn't pot them, I just water them now. The pineapples are not well lit, so and they're not getting in a steady temperature, so they're probably not growing near as well as they should. A couple of the avocados, actually one in the back, have died, aren't doing well. The other ones seem to be doing okay at the moment. I need to bring them outside and need to give them fertilizer. Then the wood sorrel, where they died, it puts on pretty flowers on a regular basis, so it's nice. And then various, again, more aloe vera here and then over here, and they're picking up. Of course, the wandering Jew is super long. It loves it when it's got plenty of water. My pecan is in its second year now, and I need to put it outside to get some sun pretty soon, but make certain it gets water too. This potato, I don't know if it's getting too wet or too dry. They say that either one of them can cause it to shrivel up like that on the leaves. Of course, the grapefruits come and they go as far as growing or dying, but they get watered once a week. Of course, this one is having a hard time growing straight up because, well, it's serving as its own insulation cover. This thing is finally putting on some, but it's so pale. I'm sure it needs a lot more nitrogen and magnesium and stuff. I just never get around to giving it any. And I got one spud here, and one spud here, and one spud here that I need to take out. There's a spud here that is in standing water. It may not do it too well, I don't know. I guess those aren't spuds, they're just various weeds. Well, one of them is this is a runner of the, my brain's dead. Anyhow, spider plant. So I've got a few of the remaining elephant garlic in here that never get very elephanty. And I got a few struggling onions here and there, and one spider plant over there, and I'm pretty certain that that plant is dead. Which, under the circumstances, it probably had too much heat and dry. So that mulberry is no longer, as far as I'm concerned. One day I might pick the potatoes out of there, but I might just leave them in there and let them keep re-sprouting. Just a perpetual patch of potatoes. Didn't plan that, but it turned out to be. Peter Piper picked a peck of perpetual patchy potatoes, I guess. I don't know. Anyhow, so getting out here where the critters are, most of everything is exactly as I last showed it to be, including the new babies that are over there sleeping in the corner behind Raindrop. I still don't remember their names, never think to ask them what they are, even though it's written down. And all these over here, they're still in here being themselves. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I may have miscounted. I'll have to remember that when I come in. Alright, now, that's because eventually we'll have a trim. Hoof trimming come in May. Which, that's because of the lady that does the hoof trimming took some time for maternity leave with her first child. And so, right here, you notice there's a lot of dusty looking manure. Underneath that is a layer of recently, just planted yesterday, lentils. Hopefully, they'll grow and won't die. Here is some more lentils being put in the ground. Same reason. Hopefully they'll survive now. And then there's garlic that survived. Now when I say die, see how brazier burned these are? We went, as many people already know, through that massive cold spell. You see there's branches down in the field again. And this tree is about as far over as it can get before it literally gets knocked off of there, but since it's already been broken, it keeps moving this direction. And I've been trimming around the gate so we don't get our hair caught in it. Anyhow, that was the other thing, just briefly, is that Gretel got in here with Snippy Snap. So now they kind of sometimes keep each other company, sometimes they go off and do their own thing. There's Gretel right there. And it's fine. She's in here. He's a Gretel. He's a baby. What you doing? You're looking for goodies, aren't you? Yes. Anyhow, so I've got an issue. I'm going to have to put this cage probably up over the top of that cage because it's flowering like this one is flowering. And I know for a fact the goats will eat the flowers off of it and I won't get any seeds. So I've got to do it. Oh, a bumblebee. That's so nice. He's a bumblebee. Oh, that's so cool. Of course, it could get mad and sting me, so I won't harass it too much. Anyhow, you see I got my water hose leaking out here again. It's because I've got to keep everything watered. Now, over here, I have set up a flotation tray. What I mean by a flotation tray is, now this is just some of that wet compost. On one side, I've got a bunch of watermelons. My lentils are poking through. And just didn't cover them very well. Anyhow, so I got a bunch of watermelons here of one kind, watermelons here of another breed, and lentils down the middle. Over here, I've got tomato seeds. In here, I got a couple tomato seeds and nothing else because I'm not for sure what I'm going to put in there, but I think I might put some tree seeds in there. I may have some cherry seeds. Anyhow, so then over here, our spuds, they were blanketed, so they went from not visible, to barely visible, to coming right up quickly. And then we're supposed to go back into cool weather pretty soon. And that's best because potatoes don't like hot weather. They don't like to make fruit in there. This mystery plant, which I think is edible, has been growing in here more than anything. And I'm just letting it. As long as it doesn't struggle too hard with the heat, it might be a couple hands full of food. And a couple more of the last surviving, seems like these pink or red, one call them, garlic don't live very well. They're not a very strong plant compared to other garlics that seem indestructible. They handle the cold weather fine, but I don't think they handle the hot weather too well. More over here with our freeze drying. Oh, I did want to mention briefly that I don't know if I can zoom into that very well, but there I've got flowers and fruit on the strawberries. So there, that one anyhow is already flowering. They're all kind of yellowish, and I'm not sure if lack of nutrients, too much water, I don't know. And they may not make it, which will be sad. I'm no expert at gardening, so if they don't make it, I blame myself for not knowing. So all this wiltiness here was from that. We had 19 degrees, and we had winds up to 70 miles an hour with gusts over 85 miles an hour. It blew through really fast. Because of the way it blew through and at the angle it blew through, it mostly hit everything on this leading side, of course, but those tiger lilies, which were really sensitive to freeze, and some other lilies around here that we've got, like daylilies, that are also sensitive to freeze. And so they took a hit, not a deadly hit, but they took a hit. So they got their tops frosted, we'll just say it that way. And now there are fewer blossoms on the verbena because of that. There are not no blossoms, they're already recovering somewhat. But there are fewer because a lot of the blossoms froze off. And the verbena itself, the stem didn't freeze, but the flowers did. And I'm pretty sure that to some extent the red buds may have gotten a little freeze damage, but we'll know in a couple more days because they're starting to come out already and they'll be open pretty soon. Now the hazelnut, it's already got opening buds. So this one doesn't look that good and it's a little brittle, but it's still got some green to it. Hopefully, I got in theory 2 more hazelnuts close to the ground over here that should do well too. So hopefully we've got 4 hazelnut trees, because they do need one to pollinate the other. For some reason or another, they don't like to self-pollinate. Over here, bridal wreath does look like it took a little bit of a hit, because you can see little black spots on it. And the baby's breath took quite a bit of a hit too. Now the cherry trees didn't notice it. They just were like fine. Our one and only, or 2 and only little tiny tulips, it should be moved from there, but I doubt you could. They seem to have survived no problem. Most of the daffodils, jonquils, and paperwhites took it in stride. Very little damage. You see I got cans out here. The wind bounced off the building here and blew cans out of the container, which I'll have to go and pick up some point. Not today, of course, but I'll have to. And then there's more tree branches down. No shocker there. Tree branches down all over the place. They're just not all instantly available to be visible at this time. But some of these trees are losing branches, and eventually, in a week or two, hopefully, Mom and I are going to go out, we're going to find a suitable chainsaw, and I'm going to start remedying all these fallen trees. Because there are just too many of them, and they do too much damage to the fences and stuff, and they're just a pain in the butt to have cluttery mess. So I'm going to cut them up, and I'm going to start saving firewood. Now over here, I was going to go around the other way, wasn't I? I want to check and see if those little plants survived or not. I tried to cover them with a piece of cottage cheese containers, but I'm pretty sure that with the wind we had blowing everything around, those cottage cheese containers probably made it to the far end of the field or somewhere. Or they might just be up here in the brush. But since I've never seen those plants before, I don't know if they're going to have survived until I go and look. Some of these spring plants are doing just fine over here, but they're pretty much really rugged plants. And so we're about to find out. One of them is still covered. Yeah, good. This one's got seeds on it. I gotta keep an eye on it. So even though I'm not gonna cover it, I'm gonna keep this right next to it so that I can see it. Because I want to get flowers from it. I mean, the seeds from it. So apparently, at least the ones that were covered, from what I can tell, I guess even the ones that weren't covered survived well enough. This one's got a seed pod forming on it too. I'm very happy. This thing, unfortunately, took a bit of a frost hit. So that may be a problem. I was worried because I didn't know much about it. And I still don't even know what kind of flower tree bush it is called. But it really took a hit from that frost, so it may not make it. I don't know. Unless it can pop up some more buds. Sometimes in the spring they'll do that. I might even be able to see, maybe, let me see if here I can point to what I'm looking at. Right there. Those may, if they won't focus though, those little buds may be the right plant, or it may be honeysuckle, but it looks like it's a plant. If it's just a few of them survived to start with, as long as it makes it through the year, it'll probably be alright. Now, I don't know of any flowers down here at the moment having shown up, other than maybe henbit and heel all, which kind of come up everywhere every year. There's again a couple more little waxy buttercups. Basically, what was the other flower I was going to point out? I've already forgotten. Crud, I hate having a terrible memory like I have. Can't remember hardly anything for 5 minutes. What is that flower? Now I think about it, I know it's over this direction, but I was like, where was that flower? When I first turned around and come this way, I knew what I was talking about. As soon as I got turned all the way around, I just know there's a flower over here somewhere I'm trying to show. But I forget where. That's kind of frustrating. Where? Oh, well, that was one thing. I don't know if they've taken a hit. I know there's orange puccoon over here. It's an early spring flower. And I have no idea how it fared under the intensity of this frost. See, the cherries didn't care. They're just fine. The flowers on the cherry plums, some came up after, some came up during, so I can't tell if they were frostbitten or just already reached maturity. And there are some red bud flowers still out. I'm in the process of de-leavening the place, and so truck's open, vacuum cleaner's there. I did some of it the other day, got tired, decided to take a break. Okay, let us see how the orange puccoons fared. Still can't think of that other flower I was thinking of a second before I turned around. I can't turn around without forgetting stuff. Huh, there's a verbena that either was sheltered from the wind or just tougher than the others. That's really cool. Oh, and I did see some bee balm already coming up. Everybody argues bee balm, horse mint, other names. Okay, so here's the orange puccoon. Looks really nice, but as you see here, a couple of its flowers took a little bit of a frost hit. So it's not completely impervious to frost, but it's not completely vulnerable. Ah, my fan fell over in the wind. That thing has gone through big winds. It took a really strong wind to finally blow that thing over. I'm not going to bother trying to pick it up right now. In fact, it actually turned 90 degrees. The motor would have, if it had fallen straight down in theory, that motor would be that direction. It's turned 90 degrees as it fell. Amazing. That was quite a wind. Well, anyhow, what was that other flower? I can't for the life of me think of what it was now. Oh well, maybe next week I'll remember and be able to show you, because I genuinely don't remember. Yeah, I've completely forgotten. Sorry about that. Oh well. Story of my life. Forget everything. What were we talking about? Anyhow, so I tried again, and apparently failed again, at using pre-mixed concrete to do my pitchfork over here, because this stuff, even though it was not the quote super duper mix that turned out to be worthless, it's really not that strong. I've spritzed it with a little water to hopefully harden it up some, but it's still crumbling like, you know, nothing. Like it has just this dirty sand. So I'm going to probably get some thin set concrete mix, just a small batch of it, redo that with this thin set concrete mix, because it's usually super strong, and if it's a fresh container, it should be totally reliable. On the topic of de-leavening, I'm already refilling the shop with crap again. All this is stuff from the house that's been up at the house for a long time, and didn't realize I was still zoomed out. Hope I didn't mess up that other video too much by aiming at blurriness. So this stuff here, these 4 containers full of material, are all from the house, and they're just stuff that I've been cleaning out the house so I can have more of a sensible, sane place to live. And other than a folding door that's laying down on its side, just a strip of white in this camera, I'm going to put a bunch of that in here in these 2 containers, and then right there are 3 printers and a never opened from 2006 fax machine, passive fax machine, and it was sitting here for a long time. I pointed to it before thinking it was a printer, and it turned out it was not a printer. It was just a passive fax machine, which makes it worthless for several reasons. One is, not only was it 2006 and probably the ink in it was probably dry, but also it was using some kind of, I forget the name of it, started with a P, but anyhow, some kind of special digital network that no longer operates anywhere in the world. So you couldn't hook it up to anything. It's pretty much worthless except for parts. We went over and had the baby's disc butted, the 2 new ones, and the handle broke off of this thing. And thankfully it was just, because I had the babies in it, it was sitting up on a milking stand. I picked it up and just that fast the hand went twink. Like, good thing I didn't have it out and open. Plus one of the nuts and bolts. One of them came loose while it was moving around, so I had to put that back on. So not much else got done. Well, I think, well, just some gardening, some de-leavening. De-leavening takes a lot of work, especially when you're hauling tons of crap. I vacuumed out the back of the truck, and I vacuumed out the part of the cab. Still got to vacuum out that truck, whole truck, as well as the rest of the cab on that one. And then I need to really at least give a good sweep in here, because I know I've eaten some fried chicken in here, and unfortunately the breadcrumbs on it from the store contains leavening. I've never used leavening on breading on fried chicken, but they do. Anyhow, so that's pretty much. I will just give another glance at this in case that was too zoomed in to show it right. But it's got cement on the outside and down on the inside. The cement on the outside is just to make it like a handle, because it was rough and gnarly. I wanted to cover it so I had a smooth-ish handle with still some good traction to it, because that thing wants, if you grab it where it's smooth down here, it spins in your hands. So that's kind of hard, because you pick something up and it flops over. I think I mentioned before that I got this piece of steel donated to me by my friends. I'm going to take that and I'm going to replace the damaged top on here, which is rusting all through. I'll replace that with that heavier gauge steel. As you can see, it's been rusted through before from something that's sitting in the dirt forever. It's probably one of the little swivel feeder heads that's designed to vent, because it's kind of sloped. But whatever it was, I figure I'll just cut the metal off of there that still works and use it on that. And then the rest of it will go in my scrap metal pile. I really can't think of anything else. I already had some mosquitoes, and I have attacked them chemically. Poured oil and gasoline in there, and then when that didn't seem to do it, poured acid in there. Now what that is, that brought up a whole covering of leaves. Hopefully they killed them all off. Try to stay ahead of the mosquito population around here. I need to drain all these tires, because they end up being one. Oh, I had to replace the water bucket in the one pen. It may not be instantly evident, but there's a hole in that pan. So, which is no surprise. It's been sitting out in the moisture and the acid animal poop for a long time. So you have to replace them every now and then. In fact, you notice I caulked it. That's because it was already leaking once. I think what I'm going to do with the next pan is I'm going to smear caulk over the whole thing. And then, because I put one newer one in there, and I still have one more unused in here. And what I'll do, so I'll take this one. It's got a little bit of loose dirt in it, but as you notice, it's just a simple pan like that until it gets bulged from swelling. And I'm going to smear the whole inside with silicone, maybe the outside too. Then I'll take the other one out, clean it real well, and do that with it. And then they'll both have more waterproofing on them and sure, it'll scrape off after a while, but a lot slower, and it'll still give a good protective layer to keep the water from getting to the metal so quick. This silicone, if it bonds real well, is very durable. And if you start really super clean and super dry, it'll bond really well. It'll be just nearly impossible to take off. So, I can't think of anything else. I moved a little bit of them exercise bikes, like somewhere over here. I moved it all up here, just so I'd have it in one place. They take up a lot less space when you break them down. And that's enough stuff to make a quadricycle out of, I'm pretty confident. Even though it'll need some cutting and pasting and stuff. And there are different machines from different makers, but they ought to work. If nothing else, I've got other steel around here to add to it. I've got tons of angle iron, as everybody knows, and other steel, so we'll make it. Anyhow, so I'm fresh out ideas of what I may or may not have done. And oh yeah, I don't know how well it works, or if it works at all, but I got this toy, and it doesn't pick up any real signal down here in this valley. It's made in 2009. It's a retro style LP, vinyl LP player, which I have some, and it says it's a CD recorder on here. Not that I would need that, but it wouldn't hurt to have it. Not that I plan on recording any of my vinyl LPs, but if I ever do, that'd be great. So that was pretty cool. Mom got that given to her because they didn't know if it worked or not. They had no way to test it or whatever, and so they said, here, have it. So I've got it. It's got dirt dauber nests in it. It probably needs some kind of work, I don't know. But it's neat. I don't know that I'll use it much. Certainly wouldn't be able to use it very well up there because a vinyl LP would be kind of hard to reach. But I don't got really anywhere else to put it right away either. Especially not in the shop. I'd have to put it outside the shop somewhere so it didn't get covered in filth and crud. It's like I've got that in a cabinet, so in theory it's not covered with filth and crud, and it's still covered with filth and crud. Just, you know, not that I've been working out here very much anyhow, but there's bugs they're eating away the wood of the cabinet and making a line of dust in it. That's what that stripe right there is. That's sawdust from up in there. So, yeah. Alright, now I'm sure I've run out of things to say. Shocking as that is. So, hope y'all, and by the way, it is inside the shop now, only 85 degrees. Let me see, that one's probably a little more reliable. 85, yeah. And outside, it's probably every bit of 95 or 96 degrees. And if you look at the date, this nice warm updraft from the Gulf of America has come up on us. And as such, I'm wearing much less clothes than I had normally worn, because I was wearing a heavy, you know, big work jacket and boots and jeans and everything the other day, and 3 shirts. And now I'm wearing just a sport bra and a pair of shorts. So I wish it was like this all the time, but you know, it's the way they said it shouldn't be, and so, well, they got to say in the matter. Anyhow, so I'm going to call it there, and supposed to get back down in the 60s next week, so, but I don't know how much more shorts and shirts I'll be wearing than coats and jackets, but we'll see. So I hope y'all have a blessed remainder of your Sabbath, and we'll hopefully have another report for you with some meaning to it next Sabbath. So, shalom for everybody now, and bye, and see you later. Oh, I realize now I've been zoomed in.